Travels of Marco Polo, Chapter 58, of the province of Egregaya and the city of Kalashan. Departing from Erginul and proceeding easterly for 8 days, you come to a country named Egregaya, Ningia, located where the Great Wall and the Yellow River meet, still belonging to the great province of Tengut, and subject to the Great Khan. In this country there are many cities and castles, the principal one of which is called Kalashan. The inhabitants are in general idolaters, but there are 3 churches of Nestorian Christians. In this city they manufacture beautiful camlets, a fabric, the finest known in the world, of the hair of camels and likewise of white wool. These are beautiful white, for they also have white camels. They are purchased by the merchants in considerable quantities and carried to many other countries, especially to Cathay. Leaving this province, we shall now speak of another situated to the east, and shall thus enter the territory of Prester John. Chapter 59 of the province of Tenduk, which is governed by princes of the race of Prester John. Tenduk, belonging to the territory of Prester John, is an eastern province with many cities and castles. It is subject to the rule of the Great Khan, all the princes of that family having remained dependent since Genghis, the first emperor, subdued the country. The capital is likewise named Tenduk. Tokoto. The greater part of the inhabitants are Christians. The king now reigning, named George, holds this country as a fief of the Great Khan, not indeed the entire country of the original Prester John, but a portion of it. The Khan always gives his daughters and other females of the royal family in marriage to him and other princes of his house. In this province, the stone that produces azure coloring is found in abundance and is of fine quality. Here, likewise, they manufacture fabrics of camel's hair. The people gain their livelihood by agriculture, trade, and mechanical work. Among the inhabitants, however, there are both worshippers of idols and followers of the law of Mahomet, as well as Christians. The rule of the province is in the hands of the Christians. There is likewise a class of people known by the name of Argon, because they result from a mixture of 2 races, namely those natives of Tenduk, who are idolaters, that is, Buddhists, and the Mahometans. The men of this country are fairer complexioned and better looking than those in the other countries of which we have been speaking. They are also better trained and more skillful traders. In this province of Tenduk is located the principal seat of government of the sovereign styled Prester John, when they ruled over the Tartars of this and the neighboring countries, which their successors still occupy. George, the present king, is the 4th in descendant from Prester John, of whose family he is regarded as the head. There are 2 regions in which they exercise dominion, and in our part of the world they are known as Gog and Magog, but by the natives as Ung and Mongol. In each of these there is a distinct race. In Ung they are Gog, and in Mongol they are Tartars. Traveling 7 days through this province in an easterly direction, toward Cathay, you pass many towns inhabited by idolaters as well as by Mahometans and Nestorian Christians. They gain their living by trade and manufacture, weaving, gold cloths ornamented with mother of pearl, and silks of diverse textures and colors, not unlike those of Europe, together with a variety of woolen cloth. These people are all subjects of the Great Khan. One of the towns, Sindachu, is celebrated for the manufacture of all kinds of arms and every article for the equipment of troops. In the mountainous part of the province there is a place called Yedifu, Yochao, in which is a rich mine of silver, whence large quantities of that metal are obtained. There are also plenty of birds and beasts. Chapter 60 of the city of Chagan Nor and of cranes, partridges, and quails. Leaving the city and province last mentioned and traveling 3 days, you arrive at a city named Chagan Nor, which signifies the White Pool. At this place the Khan has a great palace, which he is fond of visiting because it is surrounded by lakes and streams, which are the haunt of many swans. There is also a fine plain where cranes, pheasants, partridges, and other birds are found in great numbers. He derives the greatest amusement from sporting them with gerfalcons and hawks, the game most abundant here. Of the cranes they reckon 5 species. The first sort are entirely black as coals and have long wings. The second sort have wings still longer than the first, but are white, and the feathers of the wings are full of eyes, round like those of the peacock, but of a gold color and very bright. The head is red and black and well formed, the neck is black and white, and the general appearance of the bird is very handsome. The third sort are the size of ours. The fourth are small cranes, having the feathers prettily streaked with red and azure. The fifth are of a gray color, with the head red and black, and are of a larger size. Near this city is a valley frequented by great numbers of partridges and quail, for whose food the Great Khan causes millet and other grains that attract such birds to be sown along the sides of it every season, and gives strict command that no person shall reap the seed. Many keepers are also stationed there to see that the game is not taken or destroyed, as well as to spread the millet for the birds during the winter. So accustomed are they to this feeding that, when the grain is scattered and the man whistles, they immediately assemble from every quarter. The Great Khan also directs that a number of small buildings be prepared for their shelter during the night. In consequence of these attentions, he always finds abundant sport when he visits this country. Even in the winter, when on account of the severity of the cold, he does not stay there. He has camel loads of the birds sent wherever his court may happen to be. Chapter 61 of the Great Khan's beautiful palace in the city of Shandu, and the ceremonies performed there. Departing from the city last mentioned and proceeding 3 days' journey in a northeasterly direction, you arrive at a city called Shangtu, built by the great Khan Kublai, now reigning. In this he caused a palace to be erected of marble and other handsome stones, admirable for the elegance of its design, as well as for the skill of its execution. The halls and chambers are all gilt, and very handsome. One front faces the interior of the city and the other towards the wall, and from each extremity of the building runs another wall, to such an extent as to enclose 16 miles of the adjoining plain, to which there is no entrance but through the palace. Within the bounds of this royal park there are rich and beautiful meadows, watered by many rivulets, where a variety of animals of the deer and goat kind are pastured to serve as food for the hawks and other birds employed in the chase, whose pens are also in the grounds. The number of these birds is more than 200, without counting the hawks, and the Great Khan goes in person once every week to inspect them. Frequently, when he rides about this enclosed forest, he has one or more small leopards carried on horseback, behind their keepers, and when he feels like ordering them to be slit, they instantly seize a stag, goat, or fallow deer, which he gives to his hawks, and in this manner he amuses himself. In the center of the grounds is a beautiful grove of trees in which he has built a royal pavilion supported upon a colonnade of handsome pillars, gilt and varnished. Round each pillar a dragon, likewise gilt, entwines its tail, while its head supports the projection of the roof, and its talons or claws are extended to the right and left. The roof, like the rest, is of bamboo cane, and so well varnished that no wetting can injure it. The bamboos used for this purpose are 3 palms in girth and 10 to 15 paces in length, and being cut at the joints are split into 2 equal parts so as to form gutters, and with these, laid concave and convex, the pavilion is covered. But to secure the roof against the wind, each of the bamboos is tied at the ends to the frame. The building is supported on every side like a tent by more than 200 very strong silken cords, or, because of the lightness of the materials, it might otherwise be overturned by force of high winds. The whole is constructed with so much ingenuity that all the parts may be taken apart, removed, and set up again at His Majesty's pleasure. He has selected this spot for his recreation on account of its mild temperature and healthful air, and he accordingly makes it his residence during the 3 months of the year, namely June, July, and August. Every year, on the 28th day of the moon, in August, it is his custom to proceed to an appointed place in order to perform certain sacrifices in the following manner. It should be added that the Khan keeps up a stud of about 10,000 horses and mares, which are white as snow. Of the milk of these mares no person can presume to drink who is not of the family descended of Genghis Khan, with the exception only of one other family, named Horiat, to whom that monarch gave the privilege in reward for valorous deeds performed in battle and in his own presence. So great indeed is the respect shown to these horses, that even when they are at pasture in the royal meadows or forests, no one dares to place himself before them or otherwise hinder their movements. The astrologers whom he entertains in his service, and who are deeply versed in the diabolical art of magic, have pronounced it his duty annually, on the 28th day of the moon in August, to scatter in the wind the milk taken from these mares in propitiation of all the spirits and idols whom they adore. On such occasion, these astrologers, or magicians as they may be termed, sometimes display their skill in a wonderful manner, for if it should happen that the sky becomes cloudy and threatens rain, they ascend the roof of the palace where the Great Khan resides, and by incantations prevent the rain from falling and halt the tempest. The sorcerers who perform these miracles are from Tibet and Kashmir, 2 nations of idolaters more profoundly skilled in magic than any others. They persuade the people that these works are effected through the holiness of their lives and their penances. They exhibit themselves in a filthy and indecent state, and are without respect for themselves, or for those who see them. They go about with their faces unwashed, and their hair uncombed, living altogether in a squalid style. They are addicted, moreover, to this beastly and horrible practice. When any culprit is condemned to death, they carry off the body, prepare it on a fire, and devour it. But they do not eat the bodies of persons who die a natural death. Besides the marvels before mentioned, by which they are distinguished from each other, they are likewise termed Bakshi, Buddhist begging priests called lamas in Tibet, which applies to their religious sect or order. So expert are they in their infernal art that they can do whatever they will, and one instance shall be given, although it may be thought to exceed the bounds of credibility. When the Great Khan sits at meals, in his hall of state, as will be described in the following book, the table, which is placed in the center, is elevated to a height of about 8 cubits, and at a distance from it stands a large buffet where all the drinking vessels are arranged. Now, by means of their supernatural art, they cause the flagons of wine, milk, or any other beverage to fill the cups spontaneously without being touched by the attendants, and the cups to move through the air the distance of 10 paces until they reach the hand of the Great Khan. As he empties them, they return to the place whence they came, and this is done in the presence of such persons as are invited by His Majesty to witness the performance. When the festival days of their idols draw near, These Bakshi go to the place of the Great Khan and thus address him, "Sire, be it known to your Majesty that if honors and offerings are not paid to our deities, they will affect us with bad seasons, with blight on our grain, pestilence on our cattle, and with other plagues. On this account we beg your Majesty to grant us a certain number of sheep with black heads, together with so many pounds of incense and aloes wood, in order that we may perform the customary rites with due solemnity." Their words, however, are not spoken directly to the Great Khan, but to certain great officers who tell him about it. Upon receiving it, he never fails to comply with the whole of their request. Accordingly, when the day arrives, they sacrifice the sheep, and by pouring out the liquor in which the meat has been cooked, in the presence of their idols, perform the ceremony of worship. In this country there are great monasteries and abbeys, so extensive indeed that they might pass for small cities, some of them containing as many as 2,000 monks, who are devoted to the service of their divinities, according to the established religious customs of the people. These are clad in a better style of dress than the other inhabitants. They shave their heads and their beards and celebrate the festivals of their idols with the utmost possible solemnity, including bands of singers and burning tapers. Some of this class are allowed to take wives. There is likewise another religious order, the members of which are named Senshin, probably Senseng, ascetic Taoist priests, who observe strict abstinence and lead very austere lives, having no other food than bran, which they mix in warm water. That is their food, bran, and nothing but bran, and water for their drink. This sect sometimes pay adoration to fire and are considered by the others as heretics, because they do not worship idols. There is a material difference between the rulers of the two orders. The last described never marry in any instance. They shave their heads and beards like the others and wear hempen garments of a black and blue color, but even if the material were silk, the color would be the same. They sleep upon coarse mats and suffer greater hardships in their mode of living than any people in the world. We shall now quit this subject and proceed to speak of the wonderful acts of the Supreme Lord of Lords, the great Emperor of the Tartars, Kublai Khan.